So the first thing, one thing I also was going to note, I wrote it up on Trello also. I added it to what we had going. But on top of all these other things, I thought of a few more like roles and stuff that we should probably assign. And one was sound. That's huge. Huge for games. I totally spelled sound wrong. And I know you got quite a bit of experience with that, Matt. So I thought maybe you could sort of take the whole lead on it and maybe show us, maybe one day give us kind of a demo on how you use that software that I know you've been using, because that's really cool. That's something I'd like to toy around with. We also need to think about like people who are going to focus purely on level design. You know, I mean, we're also toying around with the idea of, here, I'll pull up this board so we can have it on here. If you're watching the live stream, you're just gonna have to listen. You won't be able to hear anything. I'll leave Unity up so you can just look at what's going on there. What we were doing? Oh yeah, so we're looking at the new game ideas, and we were thinking about maybe adding it or conjoining some of these together. Maybe making like a story-based RPG that is adventure. You know, that combining 1 and 4 basically. I think that'd be a great idea and it'd be a good way to start. Maybe we could do it first person. I think might be a good feel for it. Oh, I guess we have both easily. We could easily just have it scroll out. What do you guys think? Preference? Between a first person game or a third person game, or maybe even both. Okay, that'd be cool. I think that'd be good too. Having an option to switch back and forth.
Just start with one and then make it add the second.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I like that idea. I agree. There's usually like one that's sort of almost player preference, though. I feel. I know there's a lot of people who prefer to play a game in third person, where other people prefer to play it in first. What do you mean by better? No, I wouldn't necessarily say awful. Do you think the third person's worse than the first person?
Yeah.
I actually like the third person more. I like being able to see if there's enemies coming up behind me and stuff. Yeah, Morrowind or any of the Elder Scrolls games, even Elder Scrolls Online. I only played third person, but to each their own. But I think that's sort of the thing, right? Is that it's just player preference. You probably like first person because it felt more interactive and it's probably easier to hit people, right? Yeah, a lot easier to aim first person.
There's distinct advantages to third person as well. As you can look over the top of you and look behind a wall from the top.
Yeah.
And look
kind of exploit a little bit
without ever having to be around the corner. Like, there's really good advantages. But aiming your weapon and stuff maybe like the hit locks.
So I think that reinforces that we should probably have both.
Yeah.
As a player of the option, maybe we could just toggle or have a zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it'd be really hard to do a first-person platformer. Yeah, that'd be really hard. But yeah, I mean, totally. Or if you want like a pure like shoot 'em up, you know, you probably only want first person, you know, because because you do want that really central aspect on the aiming and how well you can focus with your gun. But whatever. I mean, so for our game, we're kind of thinking maybe it'd be more of like a not shoot 'em up game, and it's more really about exploration and just finding new things and give it real kind of open, like thriving world. I think that'd be really cool. You guys with me on that? Cool. So we're like saying no to violence. That's so unlike me when it comes to video games. That's okay though. We can do that. We can have it be totally about just exploration and finding cool things here and there, and maybe we'll get into more heavy details on that. But so I think we can combine 1 and 4 then. All right. So we'll throw out Sims and we'll throw out crap games and educational games. Sound good? Sound good to you guys? All right. So we'll reinforce that. I'm gonna write that on the board. Red and black. Let's put 1 and 4 equal design choice. Yeah, I don't think I can edit your notes either, so I think that you're gonna have to go in there and delete those out, but that's okay. We can get to that. Maybe I can. Do you know, Art? Can you edit other people's notes in Trello? Okay, I don't think so. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, what about level design? Who thinks that sounds interesting? I think that sounds interesting. But okay, cool. I mean, these aren't. Also, I was saying this last week. This isn't like this is all you're doing. You know, like we're not going to make Abby do all the modeling and all the texturing, right? I mean, we're all going to do everything. You know, like, and everyone will have input into each aspect of it. But I think it'd be good to have someone who kind of like wants to take the lead on it and be like, this is where I really want to focus. But definitely, if you want to do level design, I think that's good. I think that's right up your alley too, which is good. And then sound, you got Matt over there. We'll rock that out. Yeah, we're all gonna learn. I'm gonna learn something totally new. I've never worked with that software before. Can it? How well does it record live sounds? Can I plug my guitar into it? And could it pick that up?
Yeah, I have some actual hardware I need to bring.
Okay.
Mics and stuff. But,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Easily.
All right. That's cool. And then, I was thinking, what else did I write down? I wrote on something else on here. Where was it? Oh, mechanics design. That would be like, how are we going to implement our character controller, or how are we going to implement, if there is any type of like enemies, whether or not we're fighting them or just hiding from them, or they're just maybe just NPC like creatures walking around in the world that aren't good nor bad. They're just kind of there. Like how we got to implement that. We got to implement, if we're gonna have puzzles, we could do that. I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be that add a nice kind of twist if we could think of some really cool puzzles to kind of add to it.
I feel like that's where the scripting kind of meets the modeling, and kind of where the art is really shown through the mechanics, and
yeah, okay.
You kind of have to be on the same page with each other, because
definitely,
in order to have, you know, a swing arc work correctly, you need to have not only the sword be the correct length, but the script do it correctly as well. So.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. But trying to get away from the trying to make a non-violent game.
Oh, right, well, it's just the idea.
But yeah, I understand the conceptual idea behind it. Cool. So, who would want to do that? Anybody want to think that sounds really interesting in particular? Maybe not necessarily actually creating it or being the sole person who's creating the mechanics, but more of like the conceptual idea guy behind what the mechanics would be. I mean, granted.
Actually, it's super cool.
What's that?
It's a super cool thing. And when you think of mechanics, you think of like, well, I think of like how certain engagements work, and you are kind of like the guy that sets up, like when you walk into this room, what is your character going to be perceiving, and how is he going to interact with the environment that he's entering into? You're the person that makes things happen.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that that's probably one of the coolest, probably the, if not the coolest job of game development, probably one of the coolest, definitely. But, you know, we're all going to be working on everything together collectively. It's not, like I said, not one person is going to be doing any one thing individually. It's going to be a very collective effort on everyone's part. Anything else you guys want to add? For just like general topics of things that you need to accomplish in video games when you're making one. I mean, I guess we could put up. We were kind of talking about this earlier, but we could also put on narrative design, and that will kind of give us an idea of what the game's really going to be. I'm not a very good writer, so that's definitely would be my weakest point, probably. I think I'm a pretty creative guy, but I'm not very good at being able to really turn my creativity into like an interesting storyline and make it, especially like a linear, if we were going to make some form of linear-based game, I don't think that would be one of my strong points, but, you know, that's okay. We're all going to have things we're good at. Good. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I said, no one person's going to be doing one thing. But I think that it would be good if we had at least one person who was very focused on that, and they were really all about making all the design choices that we're going to be doing and all of the art choices that we're going to be choosing for our game at least make some form of sense in some kind of narrative design. Even if it was some crazy stuff that made really no sense with anything, as long as you could work that into a good narrative way. I mean, a good example is crazy games like Saints Row 4. Like, what is going on there? You get some very wacky items, but they make it. The whole game is just so wacky and it's so out there that it sort of fits. And that's just sort of the world they build. So as long as we can really keep it together and make one good, strong, cohesive design, I think that it'll be a lot stronger. I guess we'll just leave it empty though for now. Alright, any other input, guys? Anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about? What else is there? Let's take a look at the Trello board.
It's kind of like an open world, non-linear, just find things.
Yeah, I think you can find things, you can do puzzles. Maybe we could make the ultimate goal to be a collection of some sort. Maybe collecting some... Maybe you have to collect 7 of these balls that have stars in them. When you get all of them, you can summon this giant dragon and he can come out and grant you a wish. Maybe? Maybe? Okay, maybe not. Might be a little used. But you know, something like that. I mean, we could have it be some form of a collection game and you collect all these things, and once you collect them, you can bring them to this place, and then it unlocks this final area of collecting. It will be interesting to develop a game without combat in it, but for a few ways, I think that might be easier overall. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
We can decide, like, maybe for combat, but can they die or they lose together they start for some reason?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that'd be. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think it'd be cool if you could just kind of live forever? Never have a death, never have a way to die? I think you can maybe make it a way to lose. Maybe the puzzles, maybe that's how you lose, is if you just can't figure out a puzzle in the right amount of time, it kicks you out, and you gotta start over from the beginning. Start over from the puzzle at the beginning. I don't think you have to start with the whole game. It'd be a little rough.
Yeah.
Maybe not make a game that punishing. Okay, no, I like that. But maybe you can jump off a cliff though and die or something like that. I think that'd be cool. One thing I want to implement in this game, and this is really very specific, but I've been wanting to implement this for a while, is some form of grappling hook. I think that'd be really cool, and I've been toying around with the idea on a few different concepts and ways that you could make it. But I think that in this game we could make something really cool. I just love the idea of like jumping off a cliff and shooting a grappling hook and catching onto something and swinging over to the other cliff. I think that'd be cool. But that's just me. Here's a question: where do you think So, all right. So we're kind of narrowing it down. That's good. We're narrowing it down to where we want an adventure game that's going to be primarily focused on like the experience of the user, and they're going to be walking around, and they're going to be exploring and all this stuff. Where do you think it should take place? Do you think it should be like urban setting, jungle, city? What do you guys think? Mountainous terrain?
I'm a huge fan of just fantasy.
Okay.
A city
On an island?
would be like fantasy city scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I know that's the thing about fantasy is you can have fantasy. It still doesn't really. I mean, like geographical location. Where would it be taking place? Would it be in some form of city or some? I mean, you said island. That's a good call. We could totally do something like that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. Then it's like, well, then we come across we have swimming in the game, right? They just get in the water and they die eventually. Yeah. So many games have done that and shoot that. That's what I would probably say. Is you just swim for a while and then eventually like the screen gets really cloudy. No, I was just saying the screen gets really cloudy and then you'll eventually hit an invisible wall. But you can't tell you're hitting an invisible wall if the screen will be cloudy all around you. I think that'd probably be, yeah, like there's fog around it. But I like that. So we can do it on an island. That's good. Maybe we could incorporate a bunch of different types too. Maybe we could have be a relatively big island, but then maybe we could have like some jungly area, maybe like a small little city, and like all these things will allow us to go through and find these different types of collection items of wherever it's going to be, you know.
some things that like when you start out, you have like very basic characterized and collecting, so you
Yeah,
build your skills. And
definitely.
things.
Definitely. You know, I mean, I think that's something where the grappling hook will come in, right? You don't just start with a grappling hook. Maybe you just start with just your bare hands and you're just walking around. Then you find you find a stick, and that stick helps you push stuff or poke at things that are out of your reach or walk longer distances without getting tired.
I saw that one, it's like a treasure hunting, perhaps.
Yeah, we could do that.
Like a gold, maybe like a news or something.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I know what you mean.
Like a campaigns for,
Yeah, sort of like Last of Us or Tomb Raider kind of thing.
yeah. I've never played this, but.
Okay.
I think I know the gist of it.
Yeah, it's like running around the jungle and collecting things. Yeah, totally.
But if you're like Ripple, I try to do like capital things at the start, and then you lose them all when you get back.
Oh, that'd be, yeah, like you're flying in a plane, you're like some like, oh, that'd be cool, a cool narrative idea, right? You're some like esteemed adventurer who's crossing through somewhere, and then your plane crashes and you lose all of your adventuring items, and you go and collect them slowly throughout this island. I like that. That's a good idea. All right, we gotta remember that. You might want to write that one down, Matt.
And zombies come.
Then zombies come and vampires. Why not? All right, that's cool. I think that we're getting some good direction to the game, though, which is important. We're gonna need to start working on implementation of these ideas, but we'll get there. Let's think. What else do we got? So we got our guy, he or girl, it could be either one, Gamergate, whatever. So you're stranded on an island. Do you think there should be other people on the island? Should there be other creatures and people and things that you can interact with, but not necessarily kill or like fight or maybe?
I think I think it would be interesting.
Maybe-
So I think of, like an abandoned.
Or you're getting
You
those
could make it
rockets.
like, when you first see them, if you attack them, then they're gonna always be hostile. But if you don't, then they won't be.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
Right?
Totally ruin your game.
Are you
if
think-
accidentally hit someone.
Are you thinking that like the whole group of people with them are all going to hate you forever, or is it going to be like they hate this guy and then you can leave and then you can come back and then they won't be hostile towards you anymore?
You have to do
Just
something
throwing it out there.
like this.
That's a design choice. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe they start out disliking you from the get-go, and if you go near them, they're gonna kill you, and then you have to eventually like win them over by giving them gifts and treasures. You do something like that. And you like that, make it like an Aborigine tribe stranded is on this island. And they got little huts and houses and stuff. Oh, and maybe you can give the player like really decisive choices. Like, you got this grappling hook, and it's really cool and it's really awesome, but this whole tribe hates you, and you can give them your grappling hook and then they'll love you. Or you can save it for yourself and just make other aspects of the game possibly harder but more interesting. Yeah, a lot of design choices that we have to make. I mean, these are all design choices that we're going to be dealing with throughout the life cycle of this game, whatever it's going to be, whatever it's going to be called. But certain things, certain food for thought.
I'm not sure that's just something you
What do you mean by direction?
Like, are you gonna point the game towards like one item first, or is it like you go in any direction?
I like the idea of going in any direction. I mean, I sort of think, but I mean, this is just me. I don't want to be the dictatorship and the end-all answering of all the questions. But personally, I would say that I think the best implementation would be to have them be able to go anywhere. But certain areas will obviously be too challenging or maybe impossible to do if you haven't gone a certain way first. If you haven't gotten a certain item or a certain set of items first. You know what I mean? Like, let's say that there's a certain area. I'm going to keep going back to this grappling hook because it's the only thing, like I said, that I definitely want to implement into this game. So let's say there's a certain area that has a bunch of these guys who hate you on this trail that goes up on this cliff, and you could maybe sneak past them or like run past them and hide, or somehow you could get past them, but it'd be really difficult. But it'd be really easy if you just had your grappling hook and you can grappling up the side of the mountain and just bypass all of them. Sort of something like that. Does that answer your question?
No, not really. Like, you start the game, right?
Yeah?
And like wherever you start. So let's say there's 7 things you need to do.
Okay. I would say, you start at a beach and you can kind of go anywhere you want. But certain areas are going to be a lot more difficult to continue on going through if you don't have certain items that you acquired
Well,
before you
Some
entered there.
person just goes there first and sees where they stop.
Well,
they're gonna have to go somewhere
obviously,
else.
most games start out with a built-in tutorial where you don't know exactly what the objective is of the game, and then you make it really easy. Like, oh my gosh, a backpack. Somewhere.
Yeah, I agree
There's
with
a
that.
note in the backpack. Go collect all your stuff,
Mhm.
and then that's kind of like how.
You can like explore and figure out for yourself.
Yeah. Well, if you never pick up a backpack, you have no idea.
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, both sides of the argument are very valid, and I think that you want to kind of have a mix of both. You know, you definitely want there to be some form of direction. You want the character to be like, I need to go here to get that sort of thing, but I think that ultimately you'd find in that, yeah. So you get your backpack, right, and in your backpack you got that little note, and on that note it's like your items have been picked up by all these different tribes across this island, and the only way to get back your items is to go and visit each of these tribes, and maybe it's like maybe on that piece of paper you can get a little direction on where each of these tribes are, and then so maybe go to each individual tribe. Maybe one tribe's super nice and they're super helpful, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, we feel real bad for you, so here's your stuff, and you just get it pretty easily. Or maybe do something very, very, you know, some like little tiny tasks to get something. Versus some other tribes hate you, right? And you gotta sneak in and do all this stuff.
Or like maybe the tribe saw you crash. Your compass somehow landed in their camp. They bring it to you, seeing where you fell, and they're like, "Here you go. We found this. It looked like the rest of the tail section of your plane landed in the north."
Yeah,
And then you
sure.
have some sort of navigation system in the game to where, okay, that's my first goal. Is I'm gonna head north, and then find the other wreckage somewhere else. You know.
That's good. See, that's narrative design right there. That's what we'll have to do.
But if you don't like get a bad thing where like you can like help them out and they'll give you an item or you can steal it.
That'd be cool. That might be a tough implementation, just because then we're gonna have to have different enemy states. But I don't dislike that. I think it's a great idea. I just want to figure out how we'd implement it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where.
Well, we could. I mean, we could have. I mean, it's not like we can't have any type of violence, but I think that it'd be refreshing if that wasn't the central focus of the game. It wasn't like go to this town and kill every last member of every being, because every game is like that. I feel like.
It's like there's violence, but you have no actual way to fight back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You can only run.
Yeah, you can punch them, but they have spears.
Yeah. No. I mean, for
I
sure.
love how we're just turning into a violent game.
No. You can punch him, and maybe you can find some brass knuckles, and maybe an AK-47.
All of a sudden.
Yeah. No. Definitely. Like that's more survival horror, but.
I know, but like the concept.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You can't actually kill the enemies.
I'm thinking like children's game, easy, like fun puzzles.
It's kind of what I was thinking too.
Kind of
But
like each town will have its own little puzzle.
you can still do that in a non-violent way. I mean, you can still have people being aggressive towards you, to where you then have to run away or hide or maybe wear like a secret outfit and trick them or something. Wearing a disguise.
Like, how realistic do you want to make it?
I was thinking kid game, but that's a design choice. That's a design choice we'll make together.
Or maybe there's a secret Easter egg like a lottery ticket, and there's a secret machine that you put it in, and then all of a sudden you have a gun and you can kill everyone.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
like,
but
yeah,
it's super hard to find, right?
yeah,
That's like,
super hard to
and
find.
it's almost like a cheat code, right? I see. I know what you mean. But just
inside
for
the
those
kids
people,
game where-
just for those people who want to hide
Yeah,
the game with that, you can just go kill all the tribes. You like unlimited bullets in your bazooka.
It's something you would never find playing through the game. It would have to be released.
Yeah.
Like,
It would be very, very, very hidden.
yeah, just an item that have no use, no purpose.
The life should look games play a kid game, right?
Exactly. Well, just like it's kind of a quirky thing that you could add, and like something not intended to be ever found.
I don't know if we'll necessarily focus on kids' game, but
I'm not, well, I'm
I
just
mean,
saying-
like the art style, maybe make it a little more like cartoony. That's kind of what I was thinking versus realistic. sort of easy. Sometimes, depending on how it's done, cartoony can even be way harder, but realistic.
That takes a lot of work.
I don't think so. It's gonna be 3D, right? We're gonna make 3D. I was assuming we'd make it 3D.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to do an open world exploration game in 2D. I mean, you could, you totally could, but
Would it make sense? Would be realistic, but like, he's like 6 piece.
no. Oh. Is it top down 2D? Where you're kind of looking like the old school Zelda games? It's like a platform side scroll 2D. Okay. I mean, you could. It's definitely, well, for sure you could. Maybe you couldn't do anything, right? But yeah, I think that for our design choice, 3D is probably going to be the best decision. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So I think that's good. We got a good direction that we're gonna be heading now. And one thing we'll really be able to take advantage of is Unity's terrain editor, which will be great because Unity is a phenomenal terrain editor. Like we've kind of toyed around with a little bit, and that'll really help us, especially creating these, this vast dynamic island of. It's gonna be pretty cool. I just think you just do it in Blender. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Probably do it in Blender.
Design. It's just multiple pieces put together.
Yeah. Just a couple tunnels. I think that's, yeah. I don't know. I've never made one either, but I would imagine that's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's gonna be it. I'm gonna end the stream now. Anybody who's watching, might not be anybody. Who knows? All right. But thanks for watching, and like and subscribe. See ya.